Hey y'all, welcome to Night Sky Wisdom and Tarot. I'm Alex. I am, hold on, turning this down before I get a copyright. Okay, I am here to bring you Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node weekly energy update. This could be, what could come out could be about money, career, general energy surrounding you. We shall see. I'm going to do a horseshoe spread, clarify as necessary, and I kind of go with the wind takes me. Sometimes that might result in me pulling oracle cards. A lot of times it doesn't, but we'll just see. So I also ask that you keep in mind the general energies going on astrologically whenever you do view this reading. Right now we're at the end of a Mercury retrograde, as well as going into a Saturn retrograde. So a lot of the energy right now is about what appears to be stagnancy or sudden pause, but it's a lot about reevaluating foundations in place and how you go about doing things and your practices and karma and how you've contributed to certain outcomes. But also about being sure that the decision that you made, that is something that you would do regardless of, how do I put this? If you feel like you've been called on a certain spiritual journey that's tied to even, what you do for a living, are you still willing to do it? Do you still embrace it, even in the midst of frustration of lack of perceived forward movement with regard to financial outcome or progression or acknowledgement? And so Saturn retrograde can oftentimes have a lot of us feeling like all of a sudden everything stopped. So I just feel like that's important to point out. I'm not an astrologer, but I do, seek out the counsel of professionals, as well as, keep up with what's going on when, especially for major occurrences like this. And so I feel it's important because I often tune into those energies even without knowing or understanding what's going on astrologically. But I do feel this energy in a lot of the readings. So anyway, let's see what we have here for you Pisces, which is interesting because a lot of you are coming out of a place of rest, Four of Swords. But this is more about your internal decision to make a move towards something after taking some kind of reprieve. It could be reprieve from a situation that was stressing you out, but it also could just be like, hey, I need to take a step back and gain clarity about what I want to do next, whether it was good or bad, that prompted this. But a lot of you are coming out of this energy and now deciding to take action. King of Wands is what emerged from that Four of Swords. Now let me tell you about King of Wands, because this is you in your current energy. King of Wands is about attractiveness, but think of the word attract in more than one way. When we think attractiveness of a person, we're thinking more usually on the physical, about them being attractive in that way, which is also very true for you right now. I do feel for a lot of Pisces. But also, why are we attractive? It could be certain configuration of physical assets, but it's also about our energy being attractive to other people. And King of Wands is about having the best of both worlds. So whatever rest that you took, it was needed, and I would say it brought you to a place of being on top of the mountain, king of the hill. Congratulations, my dear Pisces, because whatever you did, although I feel a tug in my body. So it's telling me that it was, taking that rest wasn't an easy decision. A lot of you might have been feeling pulled to make a quick decision, or almost, even if you weren't pulled to, you felt the desire, the urge to find quick resolution to something, but you made yourself kind of step back, and you are all the more better for it. King of Wands is also very intuitive, in that knowing that you needed to take that step back only developed that intuitive knowledge and wisdom even more. And in the near future, you see Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups is also about love and offerings of support and reassurance and confirmations and intuitive messages as well. So a lot of this is about you following your heart and it leading you down this path, this yellow brick road of finally finding like the recipe. I'm hearing you found the remedy, the recipe. You figured it out. It'd be interesting to clarify, because I don't know what it is, but something y'all figured out, and everything, even though it wasn't overnight, but once you figured it out, it felt like everything just fell into place, right? So Princess of Wands is in your advice position, and basically because you are currently in King of Wands, I just feel that this is Spirit telling you keep up the good work, continue to follow that energy. Also follow it in more lighthearted ways too. So don't be so also focused on empire, kingdom building, and all of that. God's saying have some fun too. So where does your intuition or your desire lead you in a more fun but in a responsible way place? I'm not saying it's not saying being reckless, but it's about just opening up and allowing your inner child to play as well. Surrounding energy is the Tower. And it's funny. Okay, so I pull these cards, but oftentimes when I'm talking while I'm pulling, I'm not looking at them sequentially. What's closest to me is what I'm looking at first. I didn't even notice, especially with this deck, because it's very abstract. So I see the card, but I don't see the card. I'm just noticing this is the Tower, which is interesting because we were over here talking about how this wasn't an overnight process, but once you figured out the equation or you figured out the blueprint, it was like everything just went boom. That's the Tower. That's the surrounding energy. And I'm feeling like everything concurrently fell into place. So if it was some question in your life about where to go next, what to do next, how to approach a problem, the answer to that unlocked. It was the code to a lot of other different problems. So it's like everything just... And it could have been something that was more about you being self-aware about how you were contributing to the hang-up in the first place. And so it just shifted your way of operating, and all of a sudden everything just flows a lot smoother. Supporting energy, not supporting energy, obstacle, opportunity, 8 of Wands. Yeah, so like now you're being projected into like the next thing. But I also feel like this is, so there's a lot of fire energy out here. Let's just say that, okay? But we are still in balance. We have Swords, Wands, Cups. Okay, we don't have Pentacles, but oftentimes if all of these other things work out, that comes. But we got to clarify still. Where is I going with that? A lot of times when you unlock that, you know, like I said, that code to life, at least your life as it stands in the moment, it just opens you up to travel so much further and so much faster with so much more confidence. 8 of Wands is about fast forward movement, but it's almost about when you pull your bow back to launch that arrow, you could almost look away because your aim is so good. I get that energy a lot from 8 of Wands. It's about precise movement as well. It's like setting an intention and they all the wands land where you want them to land. So it's like a practice in knowing oneself, understanding energy as well. And once you unlock that code, you can start creating things around you in a way you've never done before, but you always had access to. Which makes so much sense with the outcome being Queen of Cups, because Queen of Cups is all in her feminine energy and understanding of her emotions, but she doesn't fight them, she doesn't deny them, but she also doesn't internalize them in a negative way. So the Queen of Wands is fully capable of feeling negativity and understanding why. Queen of Wands is fully capable of feeling love and feeling anxiety and all of the emotions. It's not that she doesn't feel them, but she understands which ones actually belong to her and which don't. Which leaves her wide open for her intuition to be free from emotional baggage. So, let's take a little bit deeper look at this. This is beautiful energy. You are the master of your own universe. And I think like a lot of you figured out that you didn't have to work as hard as you were working to get these results, which is really the fun part of having this code now. What is my dog working at? 1 second, because my kids are out with their friend. Well, and their friend's mom. TMI, but I just want to make sure nobody's at the door. Okay, no. So please disregard. Sorry for the distraction. I want to know what this Four of Wands energy was about preceding you emerging as, I'm sorry, the Four of Swords energy that preceded you emerging as the King of Wands. She's finally calmed down. My dog is nuts. If you want to know, she's a Leo. What is that? She's a Leo, so she has to always be heard and seen, which is why I have to shut her out from the room I read in, and because she's not small and she would literally be on this table. Clarifying the Four of Swords energy that led to you emerging as the King of Wands. It's very, King of Wands is sexy energy, okay? Oh, you did, so it was a loss. Hierophant, the Emperor. Admitting I'm hearing some of you, this was a loss of a job. Now, you see Hierophant, you see Emperor, a lot of times you hear love, but this could be the case for some of you. The majority, I'm feeling like you either lost a job opportunity that would have had you feeling like big boss energy. Hierophant is about traditional structure, formalities. It is usually typically in the religious sense, so it could be like marriage, which is a very much of a legal thing on paper, but it's a formal acknowledgement of a very spiritual practice, if that makes sense. However, it could also, like, again, represent structures within society, and I'm seeing this more as something that, you know, you lost, whether you had to walk away from or you lost something that was an opportunity that was going to put you in that big boss emperor energy. And it's like you visualized that you could taste it, you could touch it, you could see how it was going to elevate you. Well, it didn't work out as planned. So you kind of had to regather yourself. And it could have been a relationship. I just don't get that as the overall energy indicating that that's the most of you. Most of you, I feel like it was something else. So now let's clarify King of Wands, because what did you alchemize during that rest period? What emotions? Like, how did you get to Spirit? Let's talk about how we got to King of Wands from this loss. King of Wands from the Four Swords energy. Can we clarify that for Pisces? And maybe that was part of the blueprint. Hermit. You started to take a more of a spiritual approach to it than more, and a spiritual approach is about trying to depersonalize the loss, and it's not a reflection on you or your capabilities, but it's about depersonalizing that loss. Realize that sometimes things aren't meant for us, but also maybe uncovering why you initially saw it that way. Four of Swords coming back out under the Emperor energy and the Sun. So you not only were able to get clarity on that, maybe you were able to come out with the realization that this was actually a blessing in disguise. And for some reason, spiritually, you realize that this was actually a blessing for you and not a loss. Because when you were honest about yourself and you held up that mirror and you were ready to accept what was reflected back to you, it almost provided relief enough for you to get into that resting space about what you wanted to do next. And you figured it out. You figured out not only what you wanted to do next, you figured out that this process of viewing things, not about being in denial, but it's about really understanding yourself. And there's a lot of noise going on outside. I'm sorry. About understanding yourself and the energies and opportunities available around you and how to look at things differently. So this was almost like the key code that you now punched into every avenue of your life. Like, how can I look at this differently with this new way of thinking? Where's the opportunity in this that I didn't see before? Because my ego was so swelled up about what my version of this was, that I missed out on something even better. Y'all, oh, my dog. It's so much going on all of a sudden. Maybe I should listen to this reading and look at these as more of confirmations and messages than interruptions. Haha. And it gets quiet. So okay, message received, Spirit. Thank you. Ace of Cups. What was this? I feel like that's the remedy. That's the remedy. You're coming into, or now it's like you're taking this recipe. Cause then I say that, I said you found the recipe. You're taking this and it's like an elixir for all that ails you in other areas of your life, and it unlocks almost this magician energy, even though there's no magician here. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Okay. Hopefully I remember to edit that out, but if not, I had to check her. Yes, I did. And she gave me the puppy dog eyes. But let's clarify this Ace of Cups. I'm really getting like an elixir. Like it is the remedy, the Lovers, the Ten of Pentacles. You took this in the Eight of Swords. Okay. You were able to really take this and apply it to every area of your life. So whatever loss you suffered, the gift in that loss was so bigger than the loss itself. You were able to take the wisdom you attained because you decided it's time for me to look at things a little bit differently. Whatever the reasoning was, you know, sometimes we go through life with this way of doing things and we don't even realize sometimes our way of assessing the damage and moving forward from it is way worse than the actual loss itself. So we keep repeating the same cycles. Well, something prompted you to change the way you looked at it. And now it's like that energy that you came out of, it allowed you to, you know, the Lovers card, I don't believe it's Piscean energy, is it? I can't remember. I'm drawing no, it's Gemini, but I'm getting Piscean energy out of this for whatever reason. You came out of it with an understanding of self, a better balance, understanding of how this reflects in your finances, your foundation, your life, and you were able to take the blinders off. Like I said, you have the elixir now. You were able to remedy yourself. And remember that hermit energy? Like I said, when you really finally took a look in the mirror and were honest about what you saw reflecting back at you, you were able to then better understand the situations you encountered and how to move forward for them. And maybe even that this opportunity wasn't a reflection of who you really wanted to be or were. So let's clarify. I want to clarify. Let's jump over to the Eight of Wands, because that is where I feel like you take this remedy and you're able to apply it in so many facets of life that you can kind of almost aim, again, your bow and arrow, even though you're not a Sag, I know. But let's say you have a figurative bow and arrow and you're aiming for something, no matter how far-fetched it seems, no matter how tricky the shot is, it's like you could almost close your eyes now because your aim is just spot on. Let's get some more specific, Spirit. Can we get more information around this Eight of Wands in the opportunity position? And we have the Two of Wands, which is making a choice and planning for that choice that you made. Here we have the Page of Wands again, being lighthearted, free-spirited, able to like go after whatever basically tickles your fancy or the desires of your heart without much concern for what's going on around you. Two of Cups energy. Being in balance, but also for those of you who aren't partnered, I also feel that this brings in an opportunity for you to bring in someone who really appreciates this about you. And it's like you lighten your load, which in essence puts this aura around you of like healing, warmth, welcoming in, and it almost opens you up to love energy, even though I feel a lot of you, this is not even your focus right now. I'm talking to the ones, of course, if you're in a relationship, I'm not talking to you already. I'm talking about those who are partnered, or if you're in a who are single. But if you're in a relationship, this also opens the opportunity to solidify that union even more. See, the Lover's energy is, to me, more about being kind of predestined when it comes to another person. Two of Cups to me is more about the choice. And it's almost like it solidifies the choice, or it brings in someone who is like, I choose it. This is the person. This is the person. It's the person you choose, not the one you're like karmically bound to. Now that's just my interpretation. Do with that what you will. And then the outcome of the Queen of Cups. Let's talk about it. Queen of Cups. Now you're definitely on the path of being able to. Three of Cups. Knight of Wands. All of this is giving me, and then Two of Swords, which is can be about indecision, but it's also about a pause to make to decide which path you want to take. I'm hearing warning, so that's a warning about something, which I hate to do this to get it all messy, but I'm being guided to do it. So the Three of Cups and the Knight of Wands with the Two of Swords. Before I go into the other two cards, let's clarify this Two of Swords. I'm hearing heavy warning signs around that card. This is in your outcome position, clarifying the Queen of Cups. And remember that tarot is about the energies. You can always use it to your advantage to try to avoid or stay on the undesirable situations. Let me restart. Hold on. Okay, avoid the undesirable situations, but also to make sure that you stay on the right track for the desirable outcomes. Seven of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor again. So the Emperor came out before in relation to a loss. In the warning that I got surrounding the Two of Swords, the Emperor comes out again after the Seven of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. Don't go back to choosing based off of appearances. Now, however this applies to your life, you are on the route to understanding yourself. You learned something about yourself, about the past you were choosing, about the things that you found desirable in the past and the reasons why you found them desirable. And you came out of it with a renewed faith in yourself, an understanding of what really, here comes the battery, really makes you happy. And then a better understanding of things that fit you, and you were able to use that to unlock, like go throughout different areas of your life and make improvements. But there may be some temptation that comes around again that's similar to this original opportunity that you thought, but it's like the universe. Okay, not yet another hiccup, but that's okay. Again, we're still in post-shadow Mercury retrograde. Well, I think we went station today, but that post-shadow energy is still there, so I'm not surprised. But anyway, this is really about a warning about not making the same choices. Now, the Wheel of Fortune already was set in motion for you to move forward and to progress, basically. It's not in the spread, but basically you utilize the opportunity to reset and to reassess not only your situation, but yourself and your environment. And you found the cheat code. Don't get hung up when something very familiar and very attractive presents itself to you again in the future, and be tempted to really go back to something you already said that doesn't serve you. It could be a person, and it might be the same person in a different body, like the same essence of that person from before in a different body. It could be literally that same person. It could be something like you said, you know what, I finally realized why corporate America has been so hard for me. It's not for me. It looks good. I like the image it gives me and the approval it gives me, but in actuality, this is not my soul's work. And all of a sudden now another job that pays even more of you doing the thing that you really, dragged yourself into work to do before. Now it presents itself to you again. It's almost like a test. So in your outcome, you have 3 of Cups, Knight of Wands, and then that 2 of Swords. Stay in touch and in tune with your spirit and your passions, and not stuck in your head about numbers, appearances, and what other people would think you're crazy for walking away from. I feel that's a strong message for you, because you just as quickly as you tore the tower down in many aspects of your life, you could rebuild the same structure in the same way, and it end up having to be torn down again until you get that foundation right. So anyway, I hope this helps. Pisces, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time. Bye, guys.